So this is a little supplemental video based on the last one that I put up about the Logic Pro project, and this was for the track Feel So. So a couple of you guys mark me up one, and also Al Casino, you guys just basically asking if we can have a look at the beat. So I thought I would do a little extra video focusing on that. So let's just switch back, and what I've got is I've got the bass line muted, and I've got a selection here which is the main kind of beat looping. So let's take a look, and I'll show you the things that I did to get this particular vibe. So if you remember, I was taking you through some of the elements before. Let's take a look at the hats and the kick, the programming here. And the other element, the snare, we'll take a look at the positioning of the elements, the clap, and then this little snare fill. I'm not sure where this comes in. I think actually that's the 808 fill. So really we're looking at the blocks. There's also this ride which comes in sometimes, and the crash is quite important as well. So there we go, you can hear the ride coming in. So let's take a look at the programming, and the kick is pretty straightforward. You can see this, and what I'm going to do is just take this. This is a little while since I've done this, but what I'm realizing is the soloing mode is not how I want it. So I'm just going to come over here, and we're going to go to Audio, General, Track Mute Solo. Going to go for CPU saving. I know this doesn't really make any sense, but this is the way it is. So we're going to go, there's a kick. Now, as you can see, really simple. There's not really anything going on there. Just creating a vibe on there. So, really simple, literally a kick on every single beat. Let's come down now to the snare. This is one of the nice kind of skippy elements. So look, we'll play the kick and the snare together. Now if you listen to that on its own, you might actually think it's like a kind of Afro beat or a UK funky kind of tune, certainly if the tempo is faster. This makes a lot more sense when the clap's in there. So I tell you what I'll do, let's go back and let's focus on one bar. In fact, there's a 2-bar pattern there. So in relation to the grid, you can see the positioning here, and I'm just going to come down to the transport here, and I'm going to change the grid sizes. So look, if we had a normal 16th grid, this would be later than the 16th grid position, and so actually with this position here, this one and this one, you could say that they're swung. Alright, because if I did something like 16C or D, it would be a similar position. So I'll show you a little test. We're going to do this now. So 16C moves a little bit more to the left. Let's come back. Maybe it's 16E. So we're going to compare this. Let's go back to how it was before. 16E, and I had this on the 124 grid. Alright, so 124 grid. Let me show you here. 124 grid is the 16 triplet grid, which is a real classic, but certain grid positions are the same as swung. And on the point blank courses, I did a lot of stuff focusing specifically on quantizing. So I'm wondering if maybe some of the quantized videos I did are free on their channel, they're worth checking out, but maybe I should do a video really focusing on quantizing. But back in the day, for the skippy drum sound, we used to use the 16 triplet grid. And so that's 124 in Logic, so you can see this here. So that's what's going on with that. So it's a nice kind of skippy position. So the hats are also really important. So once again, making use of these 124 grid positions, so the triplets. So the way that these are programmed, the closed and the open, it's very important. You can see a little bit of variation occurring every now and again. there's absolutely no velocity difference here, so that's certainly not what's creating this sound. It's the programming of the drums, and also remember the overdrive to give it that raw characteristic as well. So that's what's going on there. I'll tell you another really important ingredient of this is the tom. So look, this is once again on a 124 grid position, just at the end, so the last position before the next beat. That's a very important part of this rhythm. And if you guys have been paying attention to my music over the years, you'll notice I use that particular grid position quite a lot. So for all kinds of stuff, it's a really good one. So that's the last one on the 24 grid before the next beat. So that's a good one. So I'll tell you what I'll do. Let's see if we can do this. I'm going to select the snare. I'm going to select the tom. Let me try and get the multiple section. I tell you what, I think it's shift, isn't it? So we're going to take a look at all of these drum elements together. Here we go. Let's come back. You're going to hear the clap now. If I solo it, let me come down and get that going too. Here we are. So let's see. Now ignore the length of the clap programming here. That doesn't have an impact on it at all. So if you just even had that as short, it would be fine. So just look at the positions. And where's that kick? I'm not sure I can see that in there. Let's add the shift on here. Let's bring this right up so you can see it really clearly. There we go. So that's pretty much the fundamentals of the beat. Very little in the way of any kind of velocity stuff. You can see that. Everything's pretty static really. But it's the actual... Let me just take this off here so we can see. It's more about the grid positioning and the choice of sound at the specific time. So you can see down here, that snare, that little tom here, every now and again. Hats providing that nice swing pattern, clap, kick to provide the backbone. Actually saying that, what's this one? That's a snare. That's a ride. Okay, yeah, I was wondering what that was. That's a newcomer. And that's a ride, so it's just providing a little bit of extra high frequency energy. And you'll notice in this track that I complemented that with this kind of alternating section, so it stops you getting bored. You know, you hear the ride and then you hear the blocks coming through. So let me flip over to the blocks. So that's pretty much it. It's a really simple one, and you know, it's really, this beat is all about that 124 grid, so the 16 triplet grid, and hopefully that give you guys a little bit of insight, and have a play around with that grid. It's a really good one. I use it a lot. Okay, so that's it. And once again, if you have any more questions, just fire them off, and I'll see if I can get back to you.